Alright, hello, welcome in, Stargazers, welcome in, hello. Hello, Babylon, hello, Lilith, hello, Airtane, hello, MG, hello, Johnny Virgil, hello, Sim0, hello, Cerulean, hello, hello, Aegis, hello, Arknights, hello, Willow, hello, Wusters, but I can't, you know what I mean. Aries, why is this, there we go. How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody is having a good day today, hello. Hello. Owa. Oh, goodness. I'm a little scatterbrained today because I'm trying to juggle too many things at once. But, you know, what else is new, right? Hello. Hello, Airtane. Hello, Sim0, hello, Aegis. Welcome in. You had stream muted! That's not very useful! Better than me, though. Better than me being the one muted, right? Hello, Johnny Virgil. I can't believe that Hamtaro thing has still stuck. Vessa did not get helloed? Vessa did get helloed! What are you talking about? Typical Fox Day, I suppose. And be depressed during stream, better temp today outside. I'm glad that it's good temp out. Same, but different? What? Oh wait, it's Thursday. I can afford to be a little bit more casual, can't I? There we go. That's better. I'm like, hey, wait, Thursday is like the day that I can let my hair down, literally. It's confirmed Daho problems, barely an inconvenience. Fair enough. Alright. I guess we should... I'm trying to think. I suppose it makes more sense to start off, with the fashion stuff, because there isn't too much there. And then we will jump into gesture work, and if you have any art questions, you are, as usual, always allowed to ask me. Box is ready to be shipped whenever P.O. Box drops? Alright, I will keep that in mind, thank you. Yeah, I need to figure that out. I need to figure that out in, like, the next month-ish, I would say. Oh, goodness. Shampoo commercial. Goodness. You guys are silly today. What was I doing? What did I literally just say we were gonna do? I said that we were gonna start off with fashion stuff, right? We'll start off with fashion stuff, because there's not too much. I've been told that the Crown Slayer one is safe. We can re-review Lessing, I think, because the last time we saw that one, it was because you guys wanted to, like, sirs. I don't understand why. Don't jinx yourself, though. It sounds like you might jinx yourself here. Alright. We will... let's see. We'll pause this. We'll jump in here. And to make sure I do this right, so bear with me. Because I always have to make sure that this is done correctly. Okay, we're good. Alright. There we go. Oh, Scotty's still here. We'll have Scotty off with the reviews, just to keep things consistent. Alright. And I guess technically... let me see. Stage. Clear. Fashion. Fashion? No. Not allowed? Why not allowed? No fashion allowed? What? Why not? What? Hey. Where, why not? Why not? There we go. What's your problem? Alright. Is it me or is the stream not having a good time? Is it- are we good? Are we okay? Testing? Is the stream okay? Is it behaving alright? Your internet cut out right as you said that. Are you guys okay? Is it okay for everybody else? It's kind of bad for you too. That's not helpful. Twitch seems a lot better though. YouTube is having a time. Ugh! I'm sorry. Operation Clothes Hanger, my favorite CC. It was wonky for you for a minute, seems normal now? That is strange. Hopefully we're okay. I'm missing a bar on my end too, but I don't know why. But apparently Twitch is fine, so I don't know. No, you also had some problems. I'm confused now. Well, hopefully we're okay. Hopefully we're okay. Let me know if it keeps causing problems. Hopefully we're fine. Love having problems on stream and no problem on ads. I'm sorry. Hopefully it's okay. If it persists, just let me know, okay? Alright. Okay. I can't handle hoodless star with flawless fur. Well, here, I mean, I guess for fashion, we'll see if this changes things, right? Well, nothing's working. Cool. There we go. Let's see if that's fine for, fashion stuff. I don't know. I just want this to work. That's all I ask. Hopefully we're fine. I'm not gonna say anything. I don't want to attract problems to me. Fair, fair. Okay. We have... What am I doing? There we go. Okay. So we can start with... That's a... Is that a different, This is making me nervous. I don't think I've seen this, fashion line before. Spoiler warning, it was not fine. Just to know for Crown Slayer, is the text okay? Because I think I forgot to ask about that. And I just want to be sure, because I'm paranoid. As with everything, right? I'm paranoid. So I just want to know if the text is okay. Everything makes you nervous? Doing things wrong makes me nervous. That's the main thing. Doing things wrong makes me nervous. Should be okay? Alright. I just want... Just, you know. Iteration Provident is a what-if skin line. Oh, okay. Alright. I don't know these things. I get nervous when I don't know what it is. That's all. Okay. Crown Slayer, huh? Alright. Oh my! Okay then. I was not expecting such a... Wow. I was not expecting such a dynamic background, I suppose? Goodness. Okay, Crown Slayer. Jeez. Whew. Alright. Oh. Oh, someone is... That's not good. Someone is falling or drowning or... I'm not sure which, it doesn't look great. Wow, what is this thing? This is huge! We don't normally see, skin designs that have this much, visual expanse? How do I want to explain this? There's so much environment. We normally do not see skin designs with this much environment going on. There's a lot of environment here, and it's really dynamic. These angles are crazy. She's very far away compared to normal. Well, it's not just that. It usually... Okay, this is a huge amount of environment work. We normally do not see this much of it. There's... engines? There's... What is this thing? Night City and herself in flying car? It doesn't really represent much of a car. Oh, is it like a van? I guess it's like a van? This is so strange. I'm also not used to like super sci-fi aesthetic, so a lot of things to me seem very foreign. So that's also something. It's a van, okay. It kind of looked like it only could be, right? Yeah, this would have to be the side, because there's the, what? I have a conclusion, but I want to hear yours. I don't have a conclusion other than I think someone was thrown off. I don't see any indication that this is water. It looks more like height, so I think someone was probably thrown out of the van. See if there's any other details that we can get on the outside first. We are in some... There's a lot of drones. A lot of drones. This is interesting. I'm always fascinated when I see background architecture in these that I don't think had a 3D model behind them. This might be one of them. I'm not really sure. The glitching effect is an interesting way to convey things. Alright, it's fairly straightforward in terms of the layout here. Ugh! I wish this was just a tiny bit moved over. Just a little bit. Just a tiny bit. Maybe this was intentional, I don't know. I would have liked to have this just a little bit more of a gap where the lighter color is, so that we could see the silhouette of this hand easier. Because this touching thing, you guys know how I am about tangents. If this just had like a little bit of the lighter color behind it, that would help a lot. I guess, it looks like it's raining. So this is nighttime, raining. What is it that makes us think that it's night? Because we definitely can understand that it's nighttime, and I'm trying to see, like, lighting-wise, how they're doing that. We have... I think it's probably the grayscale and the... Probably the fade on the bottom. The fact that the buildings are very, very, very dark, and that we can see the LEDs shining off of them. I think it's the dark shadows on everything, the dark colors. There's not much light being reflected aside from the LEDs, and then a little bit of the searchlights. So it communicates to us that it's a nighttime scene. Which is fascinating to me because there really isn't that much outward environment to tell you that it's a nighttime scene. So the way that they are using very, very subtle lighting and contrast to indicate that it's at night, I think is really good. Lots of black in the skyscrapers. Yeah, that's true. But there's a difference between, like, is the building a dark color or is the environment not shining, light, right? So I think that is something important to note too. Because I've seen this a lot of times. Like with the Ave Mujica pieces, there were pieces that were like nighttime with a bright spotlight on the character, and it's like, okay, but aside from the color being dark, what is it that is communicating the time of day to us, right? And I think that that's something important. Like someone said, very iridescent. I'm noticing a lot of the neon signage on the buildings. And then the rest of it is very, very muted and desaturated. But then where they need to have bright lights, like a little bit of iridescence for some strange reason, and then the bright blue of the flames here, It creates a really, really good contrast, especially the blue of the flames against, like, her red outfit and her red hair. That's really strong, too. There is a lot of color play here between the buildings themselves and the lights either being in a blue or a red. It's playing off of each other really well. I like the light source from far behind that separates her from the vehicle's dark interior. Oh, absolutely, yeah. That is really, really helping them stand out, which is why I just wish the thumb was just moved over a tiny bit. Do you think the ship is in camouflage? Because of the filtering? It's hard to say. It's hard to say if this is, an artistic effect or if it's uniform enough to indicate something happening to the object itself. Right? Because if we look over here, this halftone effect, this could just be stylization. But the fact that this is here, and here, and here, and here, and over here on the edges, honestly, I can't tell. It kind of feels like it's an artistic effect to sort of emphasize the rain, but we already have something different for rain. So I want to say it's also just part of the tech aesthetic. Because it's also going over here, where we see on the building. You can see it here as well. So, yeah, I'm not sure. It feels to me like the viewer's vision is blurring as our hand goes up. That could be it too, yeah. It might be a little bit of what's that called? When your eyes can't see street lights correctly. What is that called? It might be a little bit of that too. It does have a little bit of a comic aesthetic, yep. Yeah, it could be haloing, is it like is it astigmatism? If you can't see that correctly? Yeah. It could be a little bit of that. I'm not saying, like, the character has astigmatism, I'm saying that it's giving the same visual effect as that. Haloing could definitely make sense. It could be, like, a sci-fi effect of it. There could be a lot of different variants of this. The idea of the viewer's vision blurring, I think, is a really interesting one, especially given the subject matter. Lens flare? I would say lens flare if it wasn't so present in so many different areas. If it had just been here, I would have said lens flare, but the fact that it's on both sides, I don't really know. Probably reflections of some sort in the city, right? Because the city is going to be very colorful anyway. This also could just be to add more texture and color. I feel like that's one thing that we see a lot in really professional art that you do not see much from beginners or intermediate artists. The use of throwing texture on a piece to add a lot more visual information to it. We see it a lot here, and we see it a lot in, like, Nami's work. Like, if we think about the Mizuki Gamer Forever skin, that has a ton of texture work, and it's adding so much visual noise and information. And I don't normally see beginner or intermediate artists use that, at least not in a way that is in service to the piece. It's usually added on as, like, an after effect, but in here it's very, very well integrated. So, let's see here. The actual outfit. There's a robotic dog. I did not notice the robotic dog at first. Interesting. Okay. There's a robotic dog. Hyena? That would make more sense, wouldn't it? Robotic hyena. Wait, I think we can actually see that the ears are a little bit larger, which also would make sense, wouldn't it? If I'm seeing this correctly, if I'm seeing the breakdown of where these ears are, the fact that they're a little bit wider would indicate more of like a hyena shape. There's actually a lot of different color here. With the lights on the belt, the red, the blue of the jacket. And then, yeah, little hints of neons. Little hints of blue, green, red streaks. And then the light from this drone sort of hitting the side of her face, which allows her framing to work really well, right? Because everything that's behind her allows her darker color to pop out. And because it's also sort of blending in with the background, it's softening the background. It's making the background, the one thing that's really interesting with the texture that's happening here, this is something that is very, very good technique to use. When you are trying to get the audience to look a certain way, you can do a few things. You can make the information in front busier and the background simpler, or you can make the information in the front simpler and the background busier, along with things that we just discussed, like contrast and color variation. So her colors, this red is very deep and very saturated compared to like this much more faded red. And her face, and this is just something you get with anyone in an anime style, the face does not have much rendering, it's very simple. So it allows the information of the outfit to stand out. But then the other thing is that because the face is very simple and the background has all of this texture going on top of it, it allows the background to sort of fall backwards and take less visual hierarchy. So the simplicity in front is a higher level of hierarchy. The extra detail and texture on top of all of these straight lines, if we just had these basic straight lines, it would be really harsh, and it would kind of be hard to figure out, you know, what was more important, the character or the background, even though we know it should be the character, but a lot can happen where you make the background a little bit too prominent, a little bit too saturated, and they start to fight each other. So by adding these more faded effects with the light and all of this extra texture, we allow her face to be our main focus. And then the searchlight being the lightest part of the piece helps us focus on her face. The light from the background coming through the back of the van, notice that it's focused on where the hand is. So the artist is trying to instruct the viewer, pay attention here, pay attention here. It's very intentionally done. And I think that's kind of brilliant because it's so subtle. Obviously, the drone having the light on her face is what's going to catch our attention, but the back of the city, highlighting the hand, and pretty much only the hand, and a little bit of her overall silhouette, but mainly the hand, right? Pay attention here, pay attention here. The saturation of her hair and her outfit, being the most saturated area aside from these thrusters, allows her to stand out the most. The reason that these stand out but are not overwhelming you too much is because of repetition. The fact that they are showing 3 out of the 4 pieces here is making it so that the piece feels more balanced, and if there was only one visible, it would compete way too much with her. It'd be a strong blue against a strong red. But because there's repetition, it's able to throw itself backwards. Believe it or not, half of what I just said was mainly from the Colosso course that I'm taking. The composition regarding repetition, and the composition regarding too much information in the background, letting the foreground stand out. That was something that I had picked up mainly today. I probably could have said the same thing. However, I think that it sort of solidified and articulated a lot of it, so I can look at the existing finished art, because we've been doing a lot of fashion reviews, and then I can say, okay, based on what we learned about composition and theory in the Colosso class, how am I applying it to this piece? And I can already see, like, at least 5 points that I had gone over in those lessons. Overall, this is a really, really, really strong piece. The artist clearly knows what they're doing with light and color. They clearly know what they're doing with contrast. They know what they're doing with texture. The angle of her looking down on the viewer, this worm's eye view, is really well done. The anatomy is phenomenal. Her gesture is great. Everything about it, it's an extremely, extremely well done piece. There's a weird thing happening on our left eye, our right, where it looks to me like an eyebrow is infringing over the eye itself. What are you seeing? Jumping to her left eye, our right. Can't really zoom in any further to see, but it looks like an eyebrow is infringing over the eye itself. Not entirely sure what you're seeing. The dark part at the top? Do you mean this extra strand of hair? There's an extra strand of hair, if that's what you mean. The eyebrow is kind of going over the hair, but that's more of a, anime stylization. I think you might be seeing a strand of hair. What do you mean by the rendering exactly? I've seen anime faces with a lot of variation in color and texture in the face. Is it the fact they have harsher shadows? When I'm talking about anime face rendering, I'm talking about how you rarely see heavy rendering in an anime-styled face, as opposed to something like Western comics, or caricatures, or oil paintings of famous people with realism, right? Anime tends to have a very flat effect when it comes to the face and the visual information, because things like the clothing and the hair stand out much more. Often anime faces only have highlight, base, and shadow unless it's super stylized. Yes, exactly. And the reason, it's very, very intentional. The reason is because the outfit and the hair take up so much more importance in many cases, right? Because anime hair tends to be very out there, very stylized. I mean, let's think about, okay, silliest example, right? Yugi from Yu-Gi-Oh, right? The crazy, crazy hair. If the face was too detailed, it would take away too much information from the hair. So because her hair has all of the deep highlights and deep colors and saturation and strands and so much more of the information, by simplifying her face, it allows the hair to balance itself out a lot better. It made me... wait. The dark part of the top made me wonder if she was supposed to be blind in that eye or something. I'm sorry, I'm still not sure what you're seeing. I think you're seeing the fact that this iris is larger than this one because of the way she's looking. It's the almost total lack of visible sclera of that eye that's throwing me off. Yeah, you can see it, like, right here. It's really, subtle, but you can see it right here. And it's just the angle of the direction that she's looking. Because if you put the eye a little further, then it would look like she's looking this direction. And you don't want this direction, you want this direction. So what that's gonna do is you're gonna have one eye that looks like it hasn't moved as much as the other eye. And for this angle, it actually is more appropriate in terms of communicating that angle better. If both eyes were even, then it would look like she's looking in the wrong direction. When you're drawing a character and their eyes are facing a certain way, because your eye is three-dimensional, it's not going to look even on both sides unless you have the character head on and it's just the eyes that are moving. Does that make sense? I'm seeing the weird lighting style here. Look at the rib area. The inner layer of the jacket has the lighter color when it's supposed to be dark. Yes, exactly! And it's done intentionally, and it's this trick that allows you to get more visual information. Because even though her back is here, and therefore this should be dark, and her back should be sheltering the light from this drone light, they make it light so that the silhouette of her body shows better. It completely goes against what it should be, but it's entirely intentional. There's reflective light, and then there's just, like, this technically, like, this light, right? Like, well, I mean, this light is kind of coming from this side, but let's say the light was coming closer to the front of her face, right? Then this should be in shadow because her body is blocking it. But because they want to be able to show this silhouette, and they don't want this whole area to be dark, they intentionally lighten it so that you can see the form of her body easier. But yeah, anyway, this is a, that is a very, very well done skin. I'm quite impressed. Not usually my personal aesthetic, but from an art perspective, I can really, really appreciate it. It's a you need to know the rules to break them thing. Yeah, it's very, very popular now to do this, like, lighter color where it should be in the dark. It's very impressive. The only thing that I could maybe say is that if this is meant to be a lighter color, and it just catches light in a different way, but I've seen this in so many other instances, so I think it's really great. I really want to see it with a filled-in night sky, even though it does a great job of suggesting nighttime. Yeah, I understand why they didn't do it. I think it's more so allowing the correct shape of this piece. But it's kind of crazy. You feel like you could just grab it and throw it onto a night sky and it would fit perfectly. Alright. Let's see here. Iteration Providence series. The Dark Knight Terminator. Crown Slayer's iteration from Decision Point S/5258902. Dark clothes for an assassin. She grips her blade, determined to bring an end to the darkest corners of the city with her own hands. Interesting. Alright then. Very interesting. Look at the chibi. And chibi has a little frost drone. Interesting. It's so interesting how the chibi just chooses to use, like, little patches of brighter color to stand out, so that the whole thing doesn't just feel like it's all in charcoal, right? Batman? It is really good, though. Okay. I'm gonna jump out here for a sec. We're gonna go to Lessing, because Lessing I saw in the very beginning, and you guys wanted to tease me about it for some reason. So I didn't get to actually review it like a fashion review, right? So we'll go through Lessings real quick. Alright. Alright, let's take this from the top. A year later, let's see how the impression has changed. Right? Okay. I think it's funny because, you know, now Lessing has a face mask like Crown Slayer. Okay. So we've got definite street vibes. These are both like night street. That's interesting. Okay. All right. I don't even remember what I said last time to review this. We're clearly dealing with something where the character takes place over the environment, but we wanted to still spend time making the environment pretty detailed. Pretty dang detailed still. Let's see. It's a dark alleyway. There's a lot of graffiti everywhere. Last time mouth. Yeah, you guys thought that it would like super freak me out for some reason. I don't really know why. You were like teasing me about it. And like taunting me to look at it. I don't know why it was like such a huge thing. Very interesting use of color. How we have this entire area of red, and then it gets closer to a blue in the back. And his outfit is more of a red, so the contrast of the blue in the background is pretty strong. Oh no, scary emo kid with an open mouth. Oh no. Yeah, I don't really know why. That was like a huge thing for some reason. Scary because it's a guy. Let me see here. Okay, desert. Love me. Interesting. Let's see. DDR? DDRT? I'm not really sure. Heart with a knife stabbed through it. Lovely. Really intense lighting here. Really, really intense lighting on the AC. Can't make out any of these others. I think it's DDD, musical artist in lore. Is it? You see, I was thinking that it might be, except the other letters feel like they're slightly off. So I don't really know. I love the color usage, but it's overall so edgy to the point I can't like the skin. It's interesting, they're using like the glitch effects on the edges and everything. I'm trying to see what this one says. Because it's not, this one clearly says love me. This one says something else me. I can't make that one out at all. Why is he being so edgy? Okay, that's interesting. Literal twisted tower in the background. Huh. Alright, I'm not gonna ask, because, I'm nowhere near supposed to look at anything Lithanian related. But, that is interesting for sure. I'm mainly noticing the strong colors here. The really intense reds, the really intense blues. And then this red, kind of behind his horn, to allow it to stand out. And then it's kind of balanced with all the other red in his outfit, too. I feel like it's an actual building I recognize. I'm like 50-50 on that. Like, is that a thing? Is that like a place you can look up? I don't even know. And then the actual, let's see here. The lighting is really strong. See, again, can I zoom in? Okay, that's as far as I can zoom in. Again, with the bright neons just throughout the piece. I mean, this, I get it. It has the glitchy effect. They're gonna keep using that. But the bright neons on the character, like in between the highlights and everything, that's a really fun addition. Throwing in the different blues reflected on the white jacket, right? Because white is gonna reflect the most color. It's a really simple looking outfit overall. But it's a good use of, like, just your standard understanding of really good light and shadow. It's a good study piece, especially if you are, if you're a little bit more on the beginner intermediate side. It's a good study piece because there's nothing super crazy going on. Like, yes, it's a nighttime scene, but there's nothing insane to throw you off in terms of the character itself. More so everything that's going on in the background. But in terms of lighting a night scene, this is a pretty good piece to study from, I think. I don't like the pants, they should cover his ankles. Oh my gosh. Not only that, what is this, like, opening of the shoe? Why does the shoe have an opening? That is a strange choice. That feels like it would be weirdly uncomfortable. I don't know why. It just kind of feels like it would be. Because cool to just have your shoes have windows? Oil for shoes. Ankle window, the most scandalous window possible. Ankles can breathe. I mean, I guess if it's really hot out, if it helps with, like, air circulation? Kids these days have holes in their jeans? I guess it's the shoes now. Interesting, interesting. Everything else seems fairly normal, and then the holes have windows. The shoes have windows. It'd be extremely uncomfortable. Things would get constantly launched to the side. True. Think of all the little pebbles from the pavement. Wouldn't want to walk in high water with these. No. If your shoes don't have windows, how will your feet see where they're going? But the front, that only makes sense if it's a sandal. That's like saying you need this as like a. That behaves more like blinders than anything. But again, it still is good in terms of shading. Ooh! Oh, this is interesting. This is interesting. I can tell that they use a watercolor brush. Arknight, can you see this? Arknight, can you tell? Can you see the little fades and smudges here? They're using a watercolor brush. I can tell. Sorry, I'm really into that style lately, and I'm trying to figure it out. I can see right here how there's, like, do you see how the outline is somewhat darker on the edge? And everything's, like, a little bit faded and moved around with the smudges? Someone's using a watercolor brush. That is interesting. What else here? You can see this part on the arm was painted over the line art. Surprisingly large amount of detail in areas that you don't think people would pay much attention to, like the zipper. And these snaps. This is why I can never tell how much detail to add to anything. Because this is a lot of detail. I only see that being used here and here for some reason. And then everything else is really pushing the neon highlights. I think there's a little bit of chromatic aberration going around here, especially like on the edges at least. Really good study for fabric folds though, I have to say. I feel like the artist just enjoys drawing those and the buckles on the belt. Very possible. Yeah. That's very possible. The shadow got pushed back and forth by the watercolor brush on the jacket to the point the shadow went through the line art. Oh my gosh. I think I can see what you're saying. That's funny. Alright. Overall, I like the lighting of it. I think it's really good lighting. The edgy, dark alley, not personally my aesthetic. But if you ever just had to do, like, any character who's being lit from behind in a dark area, this is still very good to study from. Even if this overall skin, it might not be your cup of tea, I think that the fabric folds, the backlighting, the sort of top lighting here, not that this is the situation, but this is the same lighting that you would probably use for, like, idle pieces, idle illustration, right? Like, if you had to do, like a boy band type of illustration, it would be the same lighting style, most likely, especially, like, if it's in a concert and you have the cleave lights, it would look very similar. So you could do the same thing with it. Alright. Master study fabric folds, yes. Alright. I feel like the one thing that I really don't like about the chibi is that the mask is covering his face so much, and because he already has hair over his eyes, we can barely see his face at all aside from one eye. It's like, it's a little too much. The other thing, you know, taking back what we were saying with Crown Slayer, the fact that the mask has a pattern on it, and the fact that his hair already has a pattern on it is making it too busy. I would have made the mask solid red. I honestly, I feel like it would have made so much more sense to make the mask a solid red. It would have been, like, easier to see compared to everything else on the chibi, and it wouldn't have been competing with the pattern on the hair. That's personally how I think I would have approached it. But the painting itself, it's pretty good. Alright. Tempest series, new arrivals. Ignis Fetus. A gift for Lessing. Some young... Oh, maybe I shouldn't read this. Okay, you know what? Something tells me I shouldn't read this one. That's fine, that's fine. Considering his base fit, guessing the artist liked zippers is a safe bet. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I'm not reading it. I'm not gonna read it. Alright, that's fine. See, that's why I can never tell. I can never tell with these things. What skins have been gone over? We just did Lessing and we previously did Crown Slayer, and the last one we're doing is Chongyue, because the rest are apparently all spoiler territory. Although I'm probably gonna grab the crossover ones, because this is most likely the last time they will most likely run. I'm sad that I can't review the other crossover ones, because you guys know that I like making the evergreen video stuff with the crossover stuff. But yeah, as Zangetsu giggles gleefully, Chongyue is the only one we can review. Alright. Alright, you win. You win. Yeah, voices should be off. I'm like, do you want me to double check? I can double check if it makes you nervous. It makes me nervous, actually. Yeah, Suzerain wasn't talking, so I'm like 99% sure. Just test it on Lessing. Lessing doesn't have voices. It's 1 out of 3 to hit the safe one. I'm pretty sure there's no voices. If I hear voices, I'll just rip out my earbuds. But I'm pretty sure that we got rid of them. Alright. Alright. Chongyue. I did not get to carefully review this previously. So... let's see here. Okay. There is a lot going on, that is for sure. There is so much detail in this. Wow, okay. So I know that these are all movie references. They're, it's Jackie Chan reference, right? It's nice how there's just the tiniest bit of movement here. Like, I know it's a live 2D skin for him in general, but just the fact that these still images are just slightly moving is a really nice subtle effect. Oh, okay, you just... I'm sorry! But could you just move the book, like... Could you just move the book an inch higher, please? Or an inch lower? Either or? Please just move it up or down one way. Does the fire not count as breaking the tangent? No. Do you want to know why? Why do you think the fire doesn't count as breaking the tangent? Oh god, just choose one, please. Does anyone know why the fire doesn't count as breaking the tangent? I'm curious, based on what I've been saying. And then I'll stop torturing Zangetsu here. But I'm curious. Based on what we said with Crown Slayer, can you guess why? It's not because it starts at the tangent. I'll give you a hint, it has to do with color. Tangent or not, I don't care, nothing changes. Fair enough. Because it looks like it could be from the other one? Why does it look like it could be from the other one? And by the other one, what do you mean? I'm curious. I'm doing a little bit of an art test on you guys. Blends into the background? You're getting really close. Why does it blend into the background? You're getting really close. I'll give you a hint. If you squint, what is it about it that's causing it to blend? Not enough contrast. Yes, exactly. Exactly. The values are too similar. If you blend if you blur your eyes, the value of the dark book and the dark sky, they're so similar. The fire is bright. But the fire, being bright, is not hitting the sky, it's hitting this building, which is also fairly bright. So this is two dark values next to each other and the bright part breaking off. And the dark value is right on the line. Alright, I'm done torturing you. I mean, compared to the other skin, it is much easier to see him. It is much, much easier to see him, so definite props for that. I see, the fire needs to contrast with the night, not with the light background behind the picture. Yes, exactly, exactly. Even then, the piece's white outline is continuous and cutting through the fire. The line is never broken, yeah. No, let's torture Zangetsu more. Go through every single nitpick of the skin until he... Jeez, Vesa! There's definitely much more variety in color, and that's really good because it is helping a ton with contrast. I have to feel like this had to have been intentional. I mean, Okay. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. I still would have made it an inch lower, personally. But maybe this is an intentional choice to keep this shape overall. Maybe if we had brought this up... I don't know. These pieces break it, so I don't know. Thankfully, his horn in the uppermost John moves so it's not a permanent tangent. It's really the book killing me. It definitely is intentional. Still looks bad. Yeah, it's okay, it's okay. Overall though, the new Legend of Action films from a groundbreaking new director. This piece is really strong. This is really good, this is really strong. Drawing motorbikes is not easy, so I always have to commend anyone who bothers to draw a motorbike. The sort of graphic comic style here is really good, especially how this color looks like Copic marker. That's really interesting. The way that this is blending, the way that this is kind of overlapping, it's a it very much has a marker type of look to it. It doesn't look digital. I like that. I do like that a lot. It wouldn't shock me if there's some artists who do work for Arknights where they scan in pieces too. I like I do like the balance here of the lighter color sort of framing him, and then the highlight with it at night framing his shoulder here. That's really good too. I might have moved his hand up just a little, but there's so many things where I'm like, oh, I would adjust this, I would adjust that, but I know that realistically, I'm not good enough to do anything close to this, so I cannot be too harsh, because I am nowhere near at this level. Especially with how, like, for all that we're teasing, the composition of overlaying all of these pieces together is very difficult to do. There is still a lot of talent here. There is still a lot of work that I could not do. One thing I really love is how the lighting of his right shoulder is being lit by this explosion, and the lighting on the left shoulder is being lit by the night scene. I really like this split of warm color against cool color, and then we're sort of bringing that warm color back in here with the book. So I think that sort of unity is really good. He's using the long tail to hang on the clock. Oh, that's clever. That would be really difficult to support your weight. Yeah, that would definitely not be comfortable, I don't think. Cool on the left in the bike's shadows. Good bit of yin and yang. Yeah, right here. Yeah, so it's cool here, and then warm here, and it's allowing a good contrast to let this shine. Don't Chon yet, but I bought it for my buddy Zenketsu. I feel like a lot of us are in that boat. That would be hard, but also Chongyue trains basically all day, every day. No, I understand it, but I don't know. I don't think I could hang by a tail. I don't think that would work very well. There's so much detail here, though. Like I said, motorbikes are really difficult to draw. The gesture, too. The gesture of him turning away and, yelling into the intercom is really good. The walkie-talkie, I guess. I'm not sure what you'd call it. But the motion, the gesture of him sort of turning back, having this, like, contrapposto is really good. I do really love the lighting on this. I think it's very strong. Man, look at all those awards! Best Director, Best Picture, Best Screenplay, heck yeah! Oh look, there's a tiny little Tron here too! Very, very, very small, but still present. Let's see if there's any other, like, references here. There we go, Director Nian. Chongyue Adventures. Alright. Nice. Very fun. I feel like Nian is dreaming if she got Best Director. There's so many elements here that it does make a really, like, overall, when you just stand back and you don't, like, nitpick tangent stuff, overall it is a really good composition and it does have a very good balance of weight. This background being fully thick and this area being much looser, this area being much looser in terms of, like, background weight. And then this box here kind of acting as a good counterweight, I think is very strong too. I thought directed by and starring had no names with them, but they're in Chinese characters to their right. Where's that? Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see the white on the background here too, right? Just a straight up parody of Jackie Chan Adventures. There you go. Helping his little sis with her career. That's sweet. His tail getting tangled in the reel tape is pretty funny. Oh, it is tangled. I thought he was just sitting on top of it. No, it's tangled. See the Ferrari and Red Bull reference on the jacket? Yeah, true. There's a lot of different references here. I feel like half of these are from Cajamarch. At least I feel like I can recognize a few. I'm not really sure. It would make sense, though. Overall, though, it's very nice, it's a very, very nice composition. I like it a lot. There's a lot of references, there's a lot at play here. So I know I was teasing a little bit in the beginning with the book, but genuinely, I think that this is a very strong piece, and I would not be able to do it. So. Alright. So the idol is fine. You said, okay, make sure that the voices are off, and then turn the voice back on for the left-hand animation, correct? Again, always have to triple check because I'm nervous as heck. Pretty sure the voices should be off though, but I'll turn them on for the left animation, correct? Alright. Make sure that's not wrong here then. Oh. Alright. The idol is fun. The idol is fun. I like the the little shining radiance there. That's fun. So we're like, is he knocking it over with his tail? He is knocking it over with his tail. Oh, that's fun. I love the little gleam and sparkle. That's very pure. It's very pure indeed. I do like that a lot. Alright, this one, I think voices should be off then. Let's see here. Yep, voices are off. Good. Okay. I like how the entire scene changes. Just sort of going through your highlight reels. Oh, he's beaming. Alright. Let's see that again, but like, Let's gotta get a little bit closer up here. The bean is so cute! We love the bean. It's cool how the entire environment sort of transforms, right? And yet there's different pieces that are still peeking out. That's a good transition. That's a very good transition. The fire and his horn are still there. Yeah, I noticed that. Oh, that was weird. Book is now back on fire. Alright. I love how the entire environment flips around. That's really cool. Alright. Now I have to turn back on voices for the left-hand button. Alright. Just for you, Zangetsu. Alright, let's see here.
Actors to their marks. Ah, Doctor, are you here for a visit? You want to help? All right, hold this clapperboard.
Oh.
Now, stand a little closer to the camera. Yes, that's the right place. 3, 2, 1, action!
Alright, that's fun. That is very fun. That is sweet. Shush. Oh, shush! Shush, shush, shush! Alright. Goodness. I was not expecting that voice. I was not expecting that voice. That is a very fun personality, yeah. I do really like the chibi. Alright. Let's see. Collaborative series, all-around actor. Those Chongyue wears when studying past roles. The characters are so different, so how should one breathe life into them? He browses both scripts and tapes, experiencing life after life after life. Interesting. Alright then. Alright. That is sweet. I agree. Cool, good uncle vibe. Or I guess, big bro, right? I think that's nice. Shame you can't review the Neon one. You would have definitely loved it even way more, especially the chibi. I'm going to buy the others sight unseen. Because they are collab, and I asked HR about it. And they were like, yeah, you're probably gonna want to, you know, because they're not gonna appear again. It's, we've got beans, and I was like, you know, what about Jessica? I wasn't really sure, I was gonna skip that. And they're like, you're probably not gonna want to miss that one either. I'm like, okay, fair. So I'm probably gonna be grabbing them all blind. And it's funny, because I remember that, these were out, like, when we first started. So we kind of thought that they were never going to rerun again, and at the time I was like, oh man, I kind of really like the Neon one, and I didn't grab it, but like, yeah, okay, at this point, it's collab, I'll take the hit, I'll worry about it later. I'll just keep doing more, Maria Neural EX stages, it's fine. HR is actually just a Yostar employee. He's getting started by every skin. It's funny, right? Because I'm the one who does the evergreen content to, like, entice people to buy the skins. And there's nothing in it for me. But I like showing off all the possibilities of appreciating each skin. And there have been a lot of people in the YouTube comment section being like, I was not expecting to buy this, but after hearing your review of it, I ended up buying it. So, yeah, there we go. Alright. I'm not going to grab on stream right now, but I'm gonna grab all three later. And for now, I think we're gonna swap here. We're gonna swap back here. There we go. And then we are going to go to our art section. There we go. Alrighty. Now we can do this. There we go. Throw in a, if you're watching the VOD and bought a skin because of me reviewing it, tell me in the comments below which one, what made you decide to get it. That, I will use that. That is very clever. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. All right. Ah! We're off to a great start. All right. Let me just minimize this so it's not distracting me. Okay. So, one thing that I am going to try doing for the close-up class is we are doing a lot of gesture study. So one thing I asked people to do in the chat in Discord, if you're new here, definitely consider joining our Discord. We have a fun time. We have a Arknights channel. We have a bunch of other chat channels, threads for spoilers, all things like that. But one thing is that I'm currently taking a online class, and it involves learning gesture. And yeah, you know, you can do life drawing gesture, but I kind of thought it would be more fun and more fitting to do it with operators. So I asked people to review, to send me operator artwork to work on, to reference on stream, either in gesture study or in regular study, things like that. So we're gonna see what we can do with it. I felt Meteor would be a good start. We were given a lot to submit, thank you again. I felt Meteor kind of made sense as a good starting one. It's like, it's difficult, but it's not super overwhelming visually, so I thought it would make sense. Alright, class notepads out. You can follow along, or you can just chill, whatever you would like to do. We are happy regardless. But yeah, if you are an artist, or if you are learning to draw, if you wanted to join along with me, you can. You don't have to. It's up to you. I'm doing this so that I can prove that I'm taking the course. Meteor, first sniper op. Nice. I'm pretty sure Cruz was mine. Alright. So, first thing that we're gonna do for this is I'm gonna try to do that thing that we talked about before. Just trying to get a general gesture drawing. So I'm gonna do the thing where I remove the reference after a bit. I'm gonna try to stare at it. I'm just gonna try to get the overall feeling of what the character is doing. And then after that, we're going to play around with it in some different ways, okay? Alright. If people draw along, you should go over their drawings if they want to submit them next stream. Yeah, absolutely. We can absolutely do that. Again, great idea. Do you want to, like, take both of those comments you made down and throw them in HR so that I can keep those in mind? Because I really appreciate that. Alright. We're gonna give this, like, 30 seconds of staring. And I'm gonna be quiet for those 30 seconds. I know that I've talked through them before, and I think it sort of distracts what I'm doing. So, let me just, let's just have like 30 seconds of just sort of observing it, and then I'm going to jump in, and I'll give you a little bit of a heads up when we're about to change, okay? Alright. Main thing is I'm just staring at it. I'm not worried about the horse in the background. I'm just focusing on Meteor. Alright. This is where I need like a little clock or a little thing rotating around my head. Okay. I'm trying to look at her pose. I'm trying to see what main gesture she's making. Squint your eyes if it makes it easier too. Just trying to get the overall feeling of it. Notice which parts are sort of extruding from the silhouette. See if you can understand, like, how she's holding the bow. Alright, seeing if I can sort of see it in my mind a little bit. Because I don't have good visualization, so this is me trying to get better at visualization, right? Looking at the way her feet are positioned. Alright. I'm gonna take away the reference. You guys ready? Alright. 3, 2, 1. Okay. So now we're trying to just get a general feel of what this character was doing. I'm trying to remember, like, she had her foot mainly forward. This is really hard the minute that we take it away. Jeez. Remember her tail was sort of going here. The bow kind of facing this way. It's really, really, really foreshortened. And then I think the foot was very high here. There was a really strong contrapposto. I think it was like, let's see if I remember. It was sort of doing this kind of motion, right? So think about it here. I think that her boot was right front and center. I feel like I didn't quite get the angle. I think her back was really, really heavily pushed, right? Her tail was kind of doing this. I think she was more forward-facing. I believe she had her hair in a ponytail. Kind of hard to tell. And I think it was enough of a side angle that we could sort of see the ponytail. Trying to see if I've lost most of it. It's so bad, guys. My visualization is, like, nowhere. I know that she has this, pattern. I can sort of estimate probably where her head is. She had her main hand holding the bow here. So I'm guessing that I couldn't even really tell. I think the hair was sort of blocking it. But I would imagine the other hand is, like, sort of off here, really hard to see. Just trying to get, like, where the bow shape was. And I can't remember what she was wearing. But I know that it was fairly skin tight. I don't think it was really creating too much of a different silhouette. And I know that there were, like, long pants, I think? I remember this tail. I remember the tail being out there. And I can't really remember what the other foot was doing. I just know it was further back. I know the other foot was further back. I think it was a little more bent. I want to say it was something akin to this. And I'm just sort of cleaning it up so that it's a little bit visually clearer. And if you guys are not artists yourself, and if all you want to do is, like, just look up the operator image while I'm doing this blindly, seeing how close I can get, that's fine too. Oh, she might have had, like, a small jacket? I think she had a small jacket, right? Alright. Not the best on anatomy, but... let's see how... need a little bit more separation. Let's see how that looked. I think it was, yeah, it was a small jacket, lawn pants, hair in a ponytail. I know that the bow was really doing a lot for the silhouette. And sort of this... I think her chest is a little further out and her back is arched. And then this is probably gonna be a little straighter, actually. I don't think she was leaning. I think it's pretty straight. Alright. Let's see how that looks. And let me just make this a little darker so that we can see this piece. Let's try that. You guys ready? Okay. Ah! No, it's really off! It's really off! No! Okay, jeez. This is difficult! This is really difficult! Dang it! This is so difficult! Oh, there was way more gesture! I could have pushed this so much more! Alright. Okay, time for the draw over. Dang it! Yeah, stronger side profile. Alright. The eyes should have been much more slanted. The head should have been more slanted. There's this part that there's a lot more going on with the hair. A lot more going on with the hair. The main thing, though, I did kind of get... I didn't push it enough, clearly. I did not push it enough. But I did sort of at least remember this arched back. Except the main thing is that her leg was... that she was showing much more of her side. And that this leg should have been much more detailed. Alright. Let me just try to adjust this real quick where it should have been. This knee should have been much more pronounced, and it's not showing nearly as much. The tail I almost got. I just reversed the direction. Alright. Fair enough. I ended up reversing the direction of the tail. I at least knew that it was doing something here, right? And then the bow... The bow was okay, except it should have been straighter to show that it was more forward towards us. Because the fact that I'm seeing so much of it here would indicate a different angle for it, so it should have been much straighter. And it should have been like... Alright, her hand needed to be here. And the bow itself was much more tilted. Alright. That should have been able to show the arm. The eyes should have been here. And the hair was going over the face a little bit because of gravity. That would make sense. I don't have to worry too much about the hair detail. I just need to know that there were, like, 2 strands. And I was right about the small jacket, at least. But I didn't know how else it was being used. I just knew it was tighter around the body. And then it wasn't lawn pants, it was lawn boots. So that was also incorrect. That's okay. I mean, you're never gonna fully get these perfect, especially when you're just starting off. I think this kind of proves to you guys on camera how bad my visualization is. But allegedly you don't have to be stuck with it for the rest of your life. Allegedly, you can train it to be better. I'm trying to see if that might be true. You never know. I'll try anything. Alright. Let's look at that as like a side-by-side, okay? I'm gonna zoom out a little. Okay. Oof. So, it's so much more dynamic. It's so much nicer in how dynamic it is, you know? Like, the tilt of her head, going with the tilt of her flank, the way that the shoes are kind of in this, forward stance, it's so much nicer looking. The gesture is so good. See, that's as detailed as it needs to be. I don't have to add all of her detail. What I did in red is how I could have started the piece too. You're just trying to get the general gesture of what the character's doing, but you can clearly see that that I'm having trouble even just getting the basic gesture down. Your tail does what the Ghost Horse Trail does in the original. Is that what I looked at incorrectly? Maybe. Maybe that was subconscious. So, not horrible for a first attempt. I think it is better than my first attempt that we did last stream. But you can clearly, and I'm saying this with a little bit of surprise in my voice too. You can clearly see that the importance here is to learn the gesture. And I'm saying this with a little bit of surprise in my voice, because I'm like, oh, I wasn't expecting it to be, like, that apparent, I guess? But, yeah, it's really clear that this is what the exercise is supposed to be. It's supposed to get you used to, a better form of gesture. This hand should be even more tilted, closer to the face, and the arm is sort of covering the face a little bit, which gives it even more, movement. So, that is really good. That's really strong. You unexaggerated it. Yeah, that's a problem, right? You don't want to unexaggerate it. It needs to be exaggerated. You need to have a powerful-looking character with a powerful stance who can do powerful things. And this looks like, you know, Meteor's first day holding a bow. And that's not right. So, doing it traditionally, I can't move my red lines? Oh no. If you're doing it traditionally, shoot, let me think. If you're doing it traditionally, I mean, redlining is usually traditional anyway. This is a launch shot, but do you have a non-photo blue pencil? If you were attempting to create this piece from scratch or concept alone, do you think you would start closer to what you did in black or red? What do you mean if you were attempting to create the piece from scratch? Oh, like if I was drawing it myself? If I was just given like just saying to draw Meteor, the result probably still would have been closer to black. I think that pushing your gesture is really important. And also doing the one in red, because I was doing it in red over black, and a lot of the black had already been established, so I wasn't redrawing every piece of it. I'm also now realizing how simplified it can be, that you really don't need to add all the different details, because that's not the point. The point is the gesture. Aren't you doing traditional in Starlight Chat? If you have like a, oh my gosh, there's something that's called a non-photo blue pencil, and it allows you to scan things in without the blue showing. But if you don't have that, I would say just do it really lightly in red. Or if you wanted to, see if you had like a tracing paper or like a lighter paper that can you can sort of see what's underneath it maybe. But if not, I completely understand. Digital has its advantages for sure, I can't deny that. Alright. So now, let me save this actually. I'm gonna save this one. I'm gonna save this as a JPEG, because this is already really good just for doing the, just for having content. There we go. The next step is we can keep the reference on here if we want to. And I'm gonna keep the red one on here just so I sort of know what I'm doing. And I'm going to do, let's do it in like a bright blue so we can see what we're doing easier. What I'm going to try doing now, and there's no way to really check this, so we're just gonna do this as like a quickie. What I'll try doing now is I'm going to try to look at the general shape and appearance of this piece. And we are going to, be a good way to do this. We're going to turn this 90-ish degrees. Let's see if we can establish what this would look like as a side view. So I'm basically going to have it with her back. Alright. So we don't have to do any staring, we don't have to take anything away. We're just gonna now try to see if we can take this angle and see what it would look like if we were to sort of see it as a figurine, and then we'll turn it as if it was on a Lazy Susan. So I'm thinking about her hair shape here. I think it's gonna be, like, harder to see the detail of. And if I understand correctly, probably only see a tiny bit of the other side. This is still not gonna be great, but it's still good practice. I can't really tell what's going on with her hair, but I don't really want to zoom in either. There's not gonna be a way for us to check this. We're just gonna have to sort of do it as a practice. I know I want to have her side profile. And her head is tilted, so I can try to... How would that look? We know her arm is higher. I'm also looking at, like, the line up here, too, right? We're gonna see the side of her hand. Trying to get the side view is gonna be really difficult, too. Especially the fact that it's also, like, a tilted, face. So... Maybe like this? It's really hard to show. It's not easy. And the arm is probably not farther out enough either. It should be much further. We're going from complete, we're going from complete dynamic perspective and foreshortening to 0 foreshortening. We're kind of going the opposite way of how most people would. This is really close to her face, I think, the way she's tilted her head. I can't get the tilt visually. Not really sure how I would do that. The ears, I at least know how to do a side view on ears. I can't get the tilt of her head though. That's what's bothering me. Hello, hello, Joshua. Welcome in, welcome in. I'm suffering. How are you? The hair? I feel like it might be a little foreshortened, but I can't really tell. Maybe I'll make it a little bit shorter. How do the ear tips should indicate tilt? Yeah, they should, sorry. Wasn't paying attention here. Yeah, this should indicate a tilt, this should indicate a tilt. I still can't get it, like... How would that look? I can't visualize in my head how that tuft of hair looks, on the side of the face, you know? Maybe like this? This feels a little bit more tilted. And her ears are flared sideways, aren't they? Alright, fair enough. And try it like this. Alright, we're getting a little bit of a better effect here, I think. I'm not gonna worry about her clothes, because that is not part of the gesture. I'm just trying to get the general feeling. Her body is kind of doing this. So from the side, we're not really gonna be able to tell what's happening. So that's just gonna have to be more of like... sort of that, almost hip check kind of look. I don't know how to explain it. The way she's tilted, right? We would normally see this type of shape, but from the side, it's gonna look a little flat. So we're gonna have to kind of... My gosh, I'm having a hard time turning this in my head. She's showing us her side, so then she would be... Go the other way? I'm literally having a hard time figuring this out. Alright. We're seeing the front. Oh! I feel like I need to sculpt! I feel like I need to sculpt something! Let's at least... Okay, we at least know that her jacket is gonna be showing more, right? We at least know her jacket is showing more. I need clay. I need to be able to hold this in my hand. This is ridiculous. I'm probably gonna get the side of her breast here. And this is gonna go a little bit lower. I feel like I'm not pushing it enough for this angle. Jeez. We're seeing the side of her leg, so turned further, we're gonna end up seeing it like this. We're gonna see that leg going away from the camera. The leg is currently facing towards us and showing a little bit of the side. So if we turn that 90 degrees, it's gonna be going a little further away, I think. This is why turnarounds in animation are so difficult, too. We're gonna see the back area of the leg. See how we're seeing the back piece here? The back of the leg? That'd be shorter? That would be shorter. And I'm trying to see if I can show the... It still looks too much like a side view. I need like a mannequin or something. I feel like I had it just a second ago and then I lost it. Now I'm just going over and trying to do too many repetitions here. This is gonna be the other way. I'm losing that dynamism for sure. And then this boot, I know, can at least be more of a side view. And sort of showing us the back. I know there's a lot of people who are just watching who don't do art themselves, but please believe me, this is really difficult. I'm trying to show the back of the boot, too. I know there's a lot of people who can look at it and see what's wrong, but if you're, like, actively the one doing it, it's very hard to figure out, like, where your changes need to be at a given moment. This is why I sometimes have trouble doing this kind of stuff on stream. This is gonna be thicker, probably. It's less of a... It does have a heel, but it's not gonna be a huge heel. It's more of like a military boot, so... It's probably gonna be a little higher, too. Whew! I believe it. Even on the original, I have a hard time telling how far back the back foot is. Yeah, it's really... Alright, if I'm turning that... I feel like since this is a side view, then this has to be a back view, pretty much. But it's also, like, if it's further back, then... Would this be further back? Maybe this would be further back. I thought that this would be the easier angle than if I had turned it the other way, and now I'm like, huh, maybe I chose the wrong angle. She's also a lot more fit than I'm currently drawing her. Alright. This is probably still the same angle. This we're seeing the underside of, and then if you turn it, it's probably gonna end up being a little flatter. This is a great exercise, because I'm dying. That's how you know it's good. If it wasn't a challenge... And the foot is also slightly higher too, so we're probably gonna see like the underside of the boot entirely. See, at this point, I can tell that I'm more so working with what I can see on the paper than I am with what I'm seeing in my head. This is what happens, right? I end up being like, I can't picture this in my head, and then I just sort of keep adjusting whatever's on the paper. Please do not die during exercise. I'm trying not to. It's not easy, though. Not turning it enough, am I? Okay, this piece here, this piece here. And if you turn it, the angle changes too, right? I might just move this up a little bit, even if it's not accurate, just because it creates more visual interest. So that's another thing that you kind of learn, is that even if it's not 100% accurate, if it is better for the composition, you can also adjust it. The teacher was doing one piece where he was showing what kind of environment he wanted to have a character in, and he was trying to draw a sailor girl. And he was saying... you know, I have this 3D model of a ship. Seems to be much, much bendier. I have a 3D model of a ship, and if I have the background of the ship following the 3D model, it's not going to look as interesting for the viewer, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the essence of the ship, like the mast and the lines and the ropes and everything, And I'm sort of going to adjust it for what works best for my composition. So even if the way the foot is positioned is not accurate, it still looks better than when I had it, you know, flatter on the ground, right? So that's something you can also keep in mind too. It's less accurate, but it looks better. Slimmer, but yours could still be super fit. Oh, I can tell. I can tell. It's like I'm not... I probably need to adjust this a little bit, and maybe the jacket is showing a little further. Okay, I at least know that being able to see the side of the leg here, but sort of tilted this way, and then seeing the arm go this way, so that the leg is turned one way and the arm is turned the other, I know that that's at least accurate, because this leg is a little forward-facing, and this arm we can kind of see towards the side. So at least this showing more of the side, and this showing more of the back, I think is accurate. Colored over it, even though that's the actual part that should be lighter. The tail... The tail, I feel like I could actually... If it's going this way, then the tail might be doing... this. Right, because it's sort of curling back around on us. So it's probably going to be a little bit more... If I'm taking this shape, and if I turn it a little bit, it's probably going to be doing this. The hair, I can't really tell, so the hair is whatever. And I can't tell what the other arm is doing. I'm guessing we're going to be able to see the back of it more. So let's have her arm here. And I'm imagining she's holding the bow piece here. And then this is kind of at the top of her jacket, so it's probably going to be like... It's probably going to be about here. Seeing if I'm tilting it a little. Maybe a little straighter. Or since it's straight here, it might... No, it'll probably actually look about there, I think. And then this is going to be where the arrow is. Because if you turn that... We're also going to see more of the bowing of it, I think. Because the angle that it's now at. Not super intent, but probably a little bit. The legs, I always feel like I never make long enough, but I can't tell for this angle if it makes sense or not. And like I said, unfortunately, there's not really any good way that we can, test this. We're just gonna have to sort of use it as a learning opportunity, learning experience. I feel like that's probably as close as I can get. And her eye should probably be a little further ahead. There's a bit of a jacket area here and a glove here. And her ears are a little smaller. Maybe like that. Huh. You're always gonna look a little bit... Epic Veiler, hello. Thank you very much for subscribing. Thank you, thank you. You're always gonna, what was I saying? Lost my train of thought. Your body is always going to look a little bit, wider from the back or from the front than it will from the side. So since we're seeing a lot more of her side, it's probably, if we end up seeing more of the back of the jacket here, like let's say I can't really tell with the arm. You might see a little bit more bulk, but it's really hard to tell. That's probably as good as I'm gonna be able to make it. What about you guys? How are you faring? This should be higher, right? That's also gonna, you know, proportion of not anthro characters is also gonna help. Does she really have high heels? It's less high heels and it's more like combat boots with a little bit of a heel. I'm probably making them too thick. Rel walks in and immediately steals your train of thought. Alright, I think this is as far as I can push it. It's not great, but it's still a great exercise. I think we'll leave it there. Alright. That was difficult. Alright. You want to try the next one? I think we should move on. I think we did a good job with Meteor, but I think we should go to our next one. Okay. I'm gonna put her all in one folder. What do we want to do next? Let's see. We could do Shiryuki. That would be a difficult one. Difficult, but it might be cool. We could do Jackie. That's maybe doable. You can do Tippy. Really good silhouette on this, actually. This could actually be good. Really good silhouette. Hirata. And Capper. I think, you know what? Let's try Tippy, because that extremely strong silhouette I think is really good. Let's make this a little bit larger so it's not so hard for you guys to see. And if it helps, we can also isolate her from the background a little bit. Just so there's less in the way here. I think that's fine. I don't think that's cheating. Let me just clean that up a little. Just so we can easier see what's happening here. Especially because you guys have an even more zoomed out screen than I do. Alright. As before, we are going to spend a few seconds. We're gonna try to stare at the... Are those her... Is that her tail in the back? I guess those are, like, bird tail? Hair? Does she have long hair? Shoot, I don't know. Alright, if we don't know, we have to take it as just a gestural element. Okay. So, we are going to... Twin tails? I think it's split, but I don't know. You have the bird up there? Well, I showed the... Yeah, is it like a bird of paradise? So are they... Is it the tail? I guess it would be, yeah? Kinda looks like a bird of paradise. Okay. We're gonna make another folder here for this. We're gonna give it a good stare. And, see what we can do. There's a lot we can pay attention to in terms of the silhouette. Really pay attention to the sleeves. And pay attention to the angle of her legs. Alright. We're gonna check it out here. 3, 2, 1. Okay. I'm looking at how her... I'm looking at her arm. You don't have to do the weaponry. You don't have to make it super detailed. I'm mainly looking at the sleeves, and I'm trying to see, like, the S shape that the sleeves are making. I also want to look at the angle of her face, so we're sort of looking up at her. We're kind of looking up at her, but then her leg gives us a little bit more of a downward angle. So we're not looking as high up as, say, like with the Crown Slayer piece, right? Okay. I'm really, really trying to focus on the silhouette. I'm also trying to look at the curvature of her head with her body, with her leg. Trying to see if I can see it in my head yet. And jacket is going up on the left, down on the right. Here's the tail pieces. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to close my eyes and I can tell that I'm just not holding it correctly. Upward, downward. Make that S shape. Make that curvature. Get the knee in. The arm going up. Arm going up. Knee down. Leg down. Upward and over. And the tails. Alright. Give it a little bit more time. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Alright, I'm gonna try to think. I'm actually gonna see, maybe if I, close my eyes a little. So I remember there was her face here. There was the big gesture of her leg. Big gesture of her leg. There was the one that we saw that was going the other direction. She has a really big stance here. This jacket piece was going up. This one was kind of going down, creating a little bit of that S shape. There's one hand going up, and I think the other one was being blocked. She had a little bit of a... I don't remember her hairstyle. Something like this. The arm was going down. The leg was going down. And this leg was really, really, really dynamic in the pose. And then there was the Bird of Paradise tail, and I think it was sort of going... it was sort of making this shape that was kind of going in on itself. I think it was kind of like this. Alright. I'll just clean it up a little. I know that she had, I recall that there was some fabric that was going a little bit higher. I think... I can't remember if the leg was fully in front or if we could see any other part of the leg. I feel like we could. I don't remember I remember her leg was bare, so maybe she was wearing shorts? Or a skirt? I don't remember now. I remember one foot being here. I think she had longer shoes? I don't remember that either. Pretty sure she had pretty pointed shoes here. And because of the angle of the leg, we're going to be seeing a lot more of that curvature in that perspective. It's weird, right? It's a very short perspective. We would be seeing an angle here and an angle here on her head. We'll be seeing the bottom of the foot here. This is still a really hard angle to draw in general. I think it was kind of pointed. Need to move this up a little bit because we could see much more of her whole foot. I don't remember what she was wearing, but I do remember the, I do remember this part. I think there was probably some sort of jacket here. I remember this clothing popping out from the side. I do remember that. Alright, cleaning up the gesture a little bit. It was sort of flaring out a little. I don't know if we could see her belly or not. There was some weird squiggle thing happening on the edges. I don't know what that was up. Some detail. Some squiggly detail. I think her cap was flying off. She did have her arm doing something here around the jacket piece. And we could see that she was holding, how would that work? That's just a matter of trying to figure out how to hold a, gun. I think it was the other way. I think it was this? And I think it had a spray can attached. Something like that. And then these probably were zip. These showed something. These showed like the underside. I think they had a zipper through them. I think they had a zipper through them. Something like this. Because I remember it showing two colors. This too, probably. Imagine it was sort of facing the other direction. And her arm was not in the sleeves, it was kind of around them. And then the tail was kind of curving over. I feel like there was more information here, but I don't remember what it was. And this, I feel like the fabric might have been a little thicker. There was a weird, like, decoration, I recall. Alright. Are you guys good, or does anyone need more time? Something like that. I think the hat was a little bit smaller and further away. This one had a really, really clear silhouette, so I think it was a lot easier than Meteor's. Not really sure which way her hair was going, but... And I think she also, she has like a... this type of feeling, right? She was kind of looking down at us a little bit, but not entirely. I think it was about... this kind of angle? I don't remember what her hair was doing. It also had like a piece here, I think. I recall seeing blue over there. To some degree. You don't have to add the hair. I'm just seeing if I can remember where the hair would have been. I feel like this might have been a little thicker, too. Not really sure how much thicker, though. Maybe that's a little too much. Maybe just, like... this? Try that. And probably some pretty thick fabric folds. Alright. You wanna try this one? I'm gonna zoom out a little on it, put it over here so we can see a good side by side. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, better. Better. Definitely better. I knew that the tail did not feel right. I was like, that tail's not dynamic enough for this. Better. Much better. Alright, I moved her. I feel like her hair head was better before I started adding detail. Her head should have been tilted a little further back. The knee was going in front. It's still much more dynamic. It's still much more dynamic. So, okay. This is definitely... I did remember the hand. I'm happy I remembered the hand. I couldn't recall what her hair was doing. It's completely flipped up. Okay. It is, I think it's Hime cut, but, or it's like partially, but it doesn't show here. It's much more flipped up. I did get something regarding the outfit. I can't tell what it is though. I thought it was the shirt and I don't know what it is. It is shorts though! I got the shorts right! I got her shorts right. She is wearing shorts. Yay! The left leg really made her proportion thinner. It did, right? Okay. So we're gonna do our draw over here. And if you're doing it traditionally, just do it really lightly. Do it lightly, and then if you can get a piece of, like, thinner paper or something, you can trace over it at a later date if you want to. Okay. This was a lot better. I feel like the dark sleeves against the light background really helped me solidify that portion, which solved a good amount of it. And there is a weird decoration here. I don't get what that is. Anyway. Alright, so we do have the thick fabric. That's fine. There was a zipper here. I'm gonna be really loose with it. I'm not gonna be, like, worrying too much. We're mainly focusing on the gesture of it, right? And a lot of times, people who do this exercise, they won't even do this much detail. They just want to get, like, what the body's doing. So it's really up to you how much detail you want to put in. This head, though, should be much further tilted. I think that was a main element that we missed. I knew it wasn't, like, fully tilted because we couldn't see the underside of her neck, but we should have been able to get that the hair was going upward to give it a lot more motion. A lot more motion and movement here. She does have pieces that are going around, but they're longer. And again, you don't have to add this much detail. I'm just sort of doing it as I'm reviewing. This was still right. Okay, her arm is in her sleeve. I didn't get that. I thought it was going, like, over or around. So her arm is in the giant sleeve, which would make sense. I didn't know how to position a gun, so I sort of winged it for the moment. That's fine. We can see the underside of it a little bit. There is a paint canister on it. The hat was higher. Oh, the arm should be... The arm should be lower. It's much closer to her face. Which makes the hat higher. And it was showing a really strong underside of that hat. You can barely see the top of it. That's a really strong hat underside. We can even see the we can even see the base of the hat, which is kind of crazy. This was a little too high. All I could remember was the S shape, so... Again, there's gonna be a fabric fold here. There's gonna be a zipper. And then our main culprit, I feel like, is these tails. We do have the shorts. I shouldn't have made this a downward shape. I think I stopped making them into shorts. This should have a curve based on the view that we're seeing them at. Especially with this leg going upward, and then this one was downward. So that's going to be a lot more dynamic than what we had. The other thing is I think her head is further back. Again, more of that dynamism. That's going to make a big difference. And we'll see here in just a sec, like, how different the dynamism becomes, right? The foot we were pretty close with. I tilted the foot a little too much. And it should have been a little further out. That's okay. Again, that's also going to have more dynamism. The leg, I was wrong. She's not wearing a large boot at all. She's wearing socks. Which makes her look a lot slimmer. And then this tail. This tail's where I really messed up, because this tail informs so much of the direction. This really large shape. Right here. And sort of having these really strong curves. These really dynamic curves. That would have added a lot. Where's the foot? The foot is really high. The foot is almost hitting her bottom. She's almost kicking herself here. Again, adding that dynamic shape. And this last one here, where it's just kind of flipping over itself like a piece of ribbon, which is really good. Alright. You want to see how crazy of a difference that's going to make? Because I can already tell this is going to be really, really different feeling in terms of how strong the gesture is. We're going to have to make these a little smaller, which is okay, because we're just focusing on gesture, right? I'm going to make these smaller so they can both fit next to each other. Might have to shift them around a little, but... Alright, we're going to have her a little smaller here. We'll have these two next to each other. Alright, you ready to see how crazy this is? Because I have a feeling this is gonna be intense in terms of how much you can push things that you don't think you can push. Okay. Ready? Okay, yeah. You can see, like, where you get stiffer. You can see where you get stiffer. This is still a lot for me. But the gesture can be really, really strong. Having this showing right in front instead of sort of off to the side, this twisted angle is really good. You can see how different the shape language is. This actually should have been a little further out. When you have these strong pieces of her tail out, as opposed to this, like, weird, almost DNA-looking twist, having this really strong, sharp shape language. It's probably, like, probably a little sharper there. This was much closer than Meteor, though, for sure. This was definitely closer than Meteor. She had a little bit of her hair here, so that her face angle is actually closer to this. But it's still much further than what we did. You see how, like, what we did? We have this kind of straight angle and a straight angle. And then, I'll do this in blue. We have the angle here and the angle here. And this one, the angle is... Let's see if I'm even doing that correctly. This is actually needs to be accurate to this. Right? It's kind of where the knee is, and then this is where the knee is here. You can push it so much more, right? It's not bad. It's not bad. It's a lot better than Meteor, that's for sure. But you can still keep pushing it. That actually is still not accurate. This should be stronger. This should be stronger. This piece flaring out and curving in is really good, as opposed to this one, which is just kind of sideways blocky. This one was okay. This is pretty similar to what we had. You can see up here, too. The shape language, the dynamism of it. I feel like I'm repeating the same words, but you guys see why I'm repeating the same words. This exercise really pointed out a lot of stuff. I know, right? It's insane. It's really good. It's an insanely good exercise. It just really humbles you. It really, really humbles you, that's for sure. Alright. So, for this, again, I'm gonna save this. Also, really, like, as you go through these, I feel like it really makes you appreciate the, I feel like it really makes you appreciate each E2 so much more, right? Like, Tippy's E2 is great, but I feel like you get even more of an appreciation for it as you're in the thick of it. I was already humble about my art. It's just crazy how much this just sort of puts it in your face. it's all good. It's all good. It's super, super... This is also, like, I said that you guys could follow along with me, but I want you to understand something. This is not a beginner exercise, okay? This is not a beginner exercise. This is a class that I'm taking as an intermediate artist who has gone to art school. This is not meant to be easy. If you're more of a beginner artist, you might be feeling really discouraged. Don't be. This is a difficult, difficult assignment. You saw how much I was struggling with Meteor. This is not easy. It's not meant to be easy. This is to get you to understand 3D space better. And for me, this exercise is to improve your visualization. I do think that Tippy turned out much better than Meteor. But, you know, I have a very hard time holding a picture in my head. And you can kind of see that. The Tippy having a very strong silhouette helped a lot here. Okay. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna erase this black one again. And yeah, I'll keep it on blue. What we're gonna do here is we are going to, instead of turning it 90 degrees, because I think 90 is really hard, we're going to just, we're just gonna do 180. So 180, meaning that we're just gonna see, like, we're just gonna look at her from what the other angle would be. Wait, would that be? No, not 180. What am I trying to think of? Not 180. I don't want to show her back. I'm just trying to see, like, she's facing here. I don't want 180. I think I want, like... Yeah, I don't want the full back. I want this angle, but, like, from the opposite direction. So I guess that would be... It's not gonna be 90. I guess we're at, like, 145. Because I want something where we can take a mirror. Essentially. To some of it. If it's 180 and you're completely seeing it from the back, then all you're doing is just flipping the image and then just changing. You would just flip the image and then just color it differently. That's not what we want. I think 145 is good. So it's not 90. We did 90 with Meteor, where we took her from a side view to a front view, and that was difficult. So I think we should do, like, around 145. So we're not showing the back, but we're just sort of showing, like, what the other angle would be. Let me see if I can do that. If this is wrong in terms of numbers and percentages, I apologize. What I want to try to do instead is get her... Maybe it is 90. Is it 90? I'm trying to understand. You know what? Hang on a sec. I have a little figurine of Spider-Man next to me. We'll use that. If you're... Okay. If we're seeing it from this angle, 90 would be this angle. Give me a sec. 180 would be the other way. From the back. I don't want that. I'm, like, trying to move it in my head, basically. I guess it is 90? Spider-Man figure reference pose is still undefeated. I know, right? I'm trying to move this and think in my head, like, I'm trying to give it the same, angle as Tippy, and I'm trying to move it physically, and I'm going, like, is that considered 90? This is 180. I guess it's 90. Okay. I'm losing my brain slightly. If it's as rough as Meteor, then you can adjust it to make it easier. We'll just say, like, approximately. So basically the leg that is currently facing this way, instead of trying to do this, which I think is awful, I just want you to try to do it the other way. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, if this foot is here, I just sort of want you to turn it the other direction and have this leg doing this. Is that 90? I'm going crazy. I guess it would be, wouldn't it? Alright. Let's try it. And if it helps, you can... Well, I guess you guys can't do this, but I'm gonna try to line it up in terms of size. But if that's too hard... Actually, no, you guys can't do that, so I'm not gonna do that. We're just gonna go for it. This leg going the opposite direction, right? So we know that we have this foot going upward. I don't want it to be 180 because 180 is just gonna be, you can make a reference sheet just by coloring the back differently. That's not helping. And then this is gonna extrude a little bit, right? Extrude the knee a little bit. So it's gonna be a little higher. This is going downward. We can see the downward angle. And her leg is going backwards. So we're gonna have to do it like this. It's kind of hard to tell from this angle, too. We probably wouldn't see too much of her. I guess we would see more of her foot. I just can't do leg proportions correctly. I never make legs as long as they need to be. I think I've told you guys that. Okay, something like this, maybe. You didn't even need a stickman pose first. Probably would have helped if I had done that, but oh well. Sometimes it's easier for me to feel out the, Sometimes it's easier for me to feel out the what would you call it? The mass. But then, of course, my proportions are bad because I'm about to go off the page, so now I have to resize it, which is what makes it harder, when you're doing, like, traditional work, right? Is going way too large. I struggle with that a lot, too. I know her back is very, very tilted backwards. I know she's, like, in a huge, huge dynamic angle here. We're probably gonna see her face from the side at this view. I would imagine. She's kind of looking at us in the original. And again, kind of like Meteor, her face is slightly tilted. So we can see her face is tilted like this way. I'm actually just drawing a box. And then in my head, I'm gonna try to draw where that box would go from that angle. You know, that's actually probably the easiest way that we could do this exercise, is if we just if all we needed to do was turn boxes. We could probably gather this exercise so much easier if all we did was start with boxes. We can do that later if you would like. being able to just turn a box in your head. Much easier. Alright, I'm kind of seeing like the back of her head in a way, but this is all going to be covered by her hair. So for all intents and purposes, I think it would just be sort of simplified down to... It's way too big here. And then the curvature of the hair. Can't tell what I'm doing with the box in the way. And the sleeve is, like, really in the way. Nose is going to be higher. It's just a matter of regular anime proportion. There we go, that's better. Probably needs to go a little bit lower. Because she's a younger character, so her facial features, she's gonna have a larger head. I feel like overall her head should be a little smaller though. There we go. We're kind of gonna get like... Where's the zipper gonna show from? Probably about here. We're gonna see a little bit more of the back of this piece. And a lot of it's just gonna get in the way. Like that kind of, I think. More or less. I don't even know if we're gonna see this crook. I think it's just gonna kind of be underneath. You guys see now why I say that it makes a lot of sense to 3D model? To learn 3D modeling. Let's try a little bit up here. And then her arm, it's gonna, probably gonna see it like, is her arm in front? Her arm is in front, okay. So her arm is in front, it's probably gonna be like about here. I'm trying to think of where we're gonna see sort of the base of her hand. I'm gonna give her kind of a Lego hand here, trying to figure out the position. And then this is gonna sort of be the side of the gun. Her hair is also kind of curled over. So we're gonna see a little bit of that maybe peeking through. Going over the other side of her face a little. It needs to be a little less uniform. But Let's do it like this so it looks a little bit more visually appealing. Again, sometimes it's not accurate, but it looks better. So let's have her hair sort of come out from the side like this. Kind of gives us a little bit of a lion's mane effect. Her hat is probably, if I was to turn that. I'm probably gonna get a pretty strong side view of the hat, if I had to guess. Can't really tell. And it's gonna be a lot further back from her. And sort of tilted upward. Her arm, I feel like needs to be a little further out. Now, with what I have here, what I'm most likely and currently doing without realizing it, is I'm probably doing something like adding pieces where the angle would make sense if it was 90 degrees, would make sense if it was 120, would make sense if it was, 130. I'm probably mixing up a bunch of angles without intentionally realizing it. So I am aware of that too. It's interesting you have her left hand behind her head. I read it as being in front. Do you think both are in front? I can't quite tell. I'm not really sure, honestly. I'm actually not sure how I would do this arm either. I feel like this needs to be a lot larger too. This should probably be more tilted. It feels a little broken right now. I'm trying to figure out why. I'm not really sure. This part I feel like is sort of overlapping itself and giving us a side of the zipper here. Probably not the most accurate in the world, but that's sort of a failure of understanding on my part. But I do think that the zipper is probably more to the side. This is very difficult. I feel like the proportions are extremely off now, too, just because I was struggling so much to understand, like, what they were doing. That I think the proportions are really off. Especially the head. I think the head still needs to be smaller. This is probably, if I think about it in 3D, this is probably going to be like this. A little lower. This might be a little higher. This is still going to be like a shoe. These are shorts. So this is probably here, and this is here. This is a painful exercise. Because we're seeing her side, then we're gonna have to make the buttocks a little bit more pronounced. And then I really can't tell what's happening in terms of the clothing here. I think it's just sort of overlaid. I really don't know. And then there's this sort of carnival effect happening, I guess. And then if I was to tilt her tails, I feel like... Gosh, I cannot twist these ribbons in my head. I think we're seeing a large patch here. I feel like this also goes... It does. It would hide this foot now that I've spent all that time drawing the foot. It hides the foot, see? The foot's kind of like in between these. So I feel like her tail is kind of showing a large base. And then it's twisting upward. Can't make it as graceful, but there's definitely a twist happening here. And then this piece, also hiding our foot, kind of going outward. And I can at least tell that it's, again, curving and then going upward. You might be able to see a tiny bit of the foot, but probably not much. I think it's mainly gotten hidden. Alright. Making sure that I'm paying attention to the angles here. This we're probably gonna see a little bit more of the side. Just a little bit, so it's not like... Just so she's not awkwardly tilting it. Alright. I think this is kind of like, as far as I can understand, visually. So if she was a figurine, if we were to... Maybe this would be a little bit higher. If she was a figurine and we were to sort of like turn her around, this is probably somewhat close to what we would get. Not easy in the slightest. Both arms in front. It could be. It could be. I don't know. I guess maybe if we... Because I see this piece going forward. It's hard. It's so hard to tell. Happy happenstance that both your sketch colors are part of her color scheme. There you go. Okay. This was hard. This was really hard. I still feel like this hat is not right. This hat needs to go further back, doesn't it? I think this hat, if I had to look at, like, the color and trajectory, it's probably, like, here. If I'm looking at how far away it is and how faded it is here, it's, like, maybe... Actually, kind of lower. Maybe, like, here? I don't want that to look weird and, tangenty, but we'll do it like that. Maybe it's higher. I don't know. Because we're looking at a different angle with her. I don't know. How would I do this if this was a sculpture? I'll just do it like that. We'll fade it a little so it doesn't look attached. And based on the way it's tilted here, it actually probably... Don't do that. Oh my gosh. Based on how it's, like, off her head, it's probably actually more like this. Spinning the sculpture on the table is easier. Yeah, for sure. Has to be much lower. Rotating 90 degrees horizontal, still arrive halfway above her head. Yeah, that's true. Is this a little bit larger? I think it is. This is a little bit larger. Making sure that's accurate. I feel like it's meant to look higher, or maybe that's just like the angle. Okay. You know what? I think you just made a good point that I didn't realize. I'm gonna illustrate this with boxes. You just made a really good point that I don't think I had realized I did. We are looking at her from this type of view, right? That's what this is supposed to be. Like, we're sort of looking up at her. And I think that when I did the turnaround, we kind of sort of ended up with something a little too flat. You know? I think we ended up with something a little flatter instead of turning it in space correctly. Or I'm just confused. There's the angle that she is at, and then there's the angle that you are looking at her at. And I don't know what we did. I'm not sure what we did. This is hard. I think I neglected to give her the worm's eye view element. And I think that's why the hat looks awkward. But you know what? We're learning. We're learning. Yeah, if I should have tilted this, like, at this kind of angle. How would I have even... I don't even know how I would have done that. I'm not even sure how I would do it. I definitely did bring the camera up, yes. I think it was just too hard for me to rotate it. I don't know. This is a really difficult exercise. Yeah, our horizon line should have been like here. And on the horizon line here, we kind of made it flat. Dang. Well, it's really good to break this down and sort of know what we're doing, right? Sort of analyze it. I think that when we were doing this sketch, we were able to still capture a little bit of that. Well, this is sort of the... Actually, you know what? Now I'm curious. Did we mess it up twice? Hang on. No, we were able to get it there. It's just when we were turning it, we were struggling a little bit when we turned it. If I was paying more attention to turning, I probably would have done more that had this kind of angle at it. Because it would have been like this. I think that was our main mistake. The distance between the head and the torso is shorter in the red one. We are just not used to it. that would still go back to me not having correct proportion. Because that's still an anthro problem I have. You are absolutely right. I always make the torso too long. In the original, her left arm is in front of her. For the blue one, you moved her left arm to behind her head. I really couldn't tell if it was in front or not. I was really having a hard time figuring that out. Because it's like further from us too, right? I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. It should have been more like this, and then we would have seen, like, the side of her face here, right? And then if we weren't careful, it was probably just gonna turn into, it probably just would have been covering her face entirely, if we weren't careful. Right? Probably would have just ended up with that. So that should have been the... I see what you're saying. I don't know which angle would have worked best for that, though. She isn't trying to catch her hat. The blue one is suggesting she's trying to. Makes sense. Makes sense, yeah. This would be like... Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. Let me grab these if I can, move these down a little. There we go, that's better. Well, it's not easy, that's for sure. It's not easy. Lack of foreshortening on the torso is part of what changed the camera angle. That would make sense. So if I had... Yep, I see it, yeah. I should have been doing it more like this, right? I made it way too flat. I made it way too flat, and I can just see the square where the square is supposed to be. It's hard to balance, like, I want to use Arknights operators to learn from, and guys, we really just need to go back to cubes. Crazy. Crazy, crazy. Crazy, we need to just go back to cubes, guys. Can you believe it? Cubes. Everything is cubes. Everything becomes cubes eventually. No Minecraft references, but like, everything is basically broken down into cubes. And this just would have been a little higher. A little smaller. Definitely not an easy exercise. But I think it was really good. I think it was really, really solid, right? I think that between... Oh, let me get, where is this? Let me get Tippy's reference here. Between, Meteor and Tippy, I think we learned a lot here. First practice cube prism. Basic shapes, get squares, triangles, and circles, and then we can draw anything. True, yeah. It's just that, it's just that balance of, like, this is partially Arknights' channel. It has to be related to There's another assignment that I have to do that's like, practicing laying out composition, and they give you like a vase, an apple, and a teacup. And I'm like, I'm gonna have the vase be a kettle. Same shape. Same options. I think it's a fun way to learn when you can use subjects that you're familiar with and enjoy. But yeah, there's also a part where you just do need to learn your basic cubes. It's funny, no matter how long you've been working, you think that you're... Not that you're, like, past that, but, like... Everyone can always go back to fundamentals. It never hurts. Right? It's amazing how dynamic the Meteor piece was supposed to be here, too. I think we did I think we did a good session, though. I think we did a good session. Creative Cafe channel is a good place to exchange experience for this, right? Yeah, absolutely. If you want to, like, chit-chat about it and stuff, absolutely. When it comes to Creative Cafe, basically, don't just post, like, your regular work in progress for your personal work or like full finished pieces, but if it's like exercises, practices, and discussions, yes, Creative Cafe is perfect for that. If it's like stuff we're doing collectively, but if it's just like, oh, I'm currently working on this painting that has nothing to do with anything we're talking about, then, you know, work in progress stuff. But if it's related to the things we're discussing, then yeah, Creative Cafe, all good. And oh, thank you for shouting out the Discord. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Tea kettle, Myrtle's apple. Exactly. Exactly. I think we're wrapping it up here, though. I think, I thought I'd get more done, but you know what? That's okay. We gave 2 pieces of practice to each one, so it was like doing 4. But anyway, we will wrap it up there. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. I really enjoyed looking at the fashion designs today. They were quite eye-opening in terms of angle and contrast and whatnot. I will see you Saturday. I will see you Saturday! I'm not sure how that's gonna go, but I will see you Saturday! Ugh. Okay. We'll see how that goes. Oh boy. Okay. Have a fantastic rest of your day, evening, or night, wherever you may be in the world, or the many, many worlds beyond. And well, thank you so much, and all the best. Help me.